Right, good afternoon everybody, and delighted to see you all here at the launch of a new British standard. They all have numbers, I'm sure you know this. This is 8901, and then after that the year 2007. So a very auspicious day for the sustainable events industry, and I hope you'll find the presentation this afternoon useful and also inspiring, because we want to try and increase the number of people who are interested in this subject area. There's a family of standards, and I'll say a bit more about this, about sustainable development. And the first certifiable standard is the one launched today. The first one you can actually get accredited to, 8901. I mentioned that this is the first, or this is part of a family of standards which we set out, in fact, in 2006, in November 2006, with British Standard 8900, which I would commend to you effectively as a roadmap for this entire area. We spent quite a lot of time trying to work out how to make this subject of sustainability accessible to people who are new to the subject, to small firms, to those who are possibly in sectors where this is not a particularly discussed subject. So it's meant to be an introductory document. And if you haven't seen it, I would commend it to you. It talks a lot about the way in which business benefits can be derived from a sustainable development approach. I think that's one of its major benefits. And the first one that we have focused on, for a number of reasons that will emerge this afternoon, is events management. The major driver, indeed, for looking at this sector was the drive, the enthusiasm of the sector itself. We've just come back from a week's conference, a week's working party in Vienna, where I think we made good progress. But possibly the thought that I carry from that is that the UK's thinking, I believe, is quite a long way ahead of many other countries, possibly right out in front. And that's very encouraging, and something I think that BSI can work on and take further forward. So it's good to be in a sort of leading position there. What we're much more concerned about is genuine, substantive, mainstream change, embedding a culture of sustainability within organisations and communities, which actually works for long term and isn't a passing fashion. For me, that's very important. Firstly, as I've said before, but I want to emphasise again, we're trying to bring organisations into this whole debate and area of interest that have not previously been interested and not had experience before. Partly, the reason for the case study emphasis is to help those sorts of businesses see what could happen. Secondly, we're trying not to be tick box and prescriptive. We're trying to encourage a business to work from principles and work out what it should do for itself, but leaving enough rigour, enough detail there to be verifiable, to be certified. And that's a very difficult balancing act. Thirdly, we want to allow for and indeed encourage change, not to see this as a snapshot, something which goes on. And finally, I'm not sure I like the term soft standards anymore, but at least it's a controversial title. But we want to try and affect the way in which decisions are made, hearts and minds, if you like, rather than just set in place process and system. And that, I think, is a big step forward. I don't see any country in the ISO community that I've been dealing with, certainly last week, that has that particular focus. And for us, I think that's truly important.